Let's continue and modify this icon here. We want to, instead of having to resort to the logs here, we want to be able to see the icon and be notified when something changes there. Okay? But first I want to get rid of that scroll bar there. In the app.view file, the app component, we want to add the following: Webkit Scrollbar, and we'll do a width of 0 pixels. Alright, you see how it went away? I actually have something else on the original repo, which is background transparent, and that seemed to help as well. Maybe we don't need this part, but in any case, the next thing we want to do is actually modify this icon, right? Like we said. So let's go back to the remote component. I'm going to do a quick demonstration of what we want here. So we want to see this green icon when we hit the remote, and something like a red icon when we are having issues reaching the endpoint. Like you saw here, I am changing this class here and the contents of the vIcon component in there. So what can we do now? Well, we can bind to another object, which I'll call icon here, and we'll say it has a name. We also want to bind a class, and it's more specifically going to be a class list. And this is going to be the following key. Alright. And now we want to add something else to our component definition. And what we want to add is a computed property. And in this case, it's going to be the icon. So like we said, the icon is going to be an object which has a name and a class list, which I'll just simply call classes. Okay, so let me now create a couple variables that I will use, and this is going to be an array. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add conditionals for when we should apply a given name for the icon and some styles or some classes to that icon component. So let me do that real quick here. Okay, so this is the logic I came up with to apply the classes, and you'll notice now that we're trying to check against the status key on the remote prop that we are using in our component. Also, please notice that even though we are binding to a dynamic value for applying the class list, we are still getting a hold of this white text class, meaning that Vue will append anything that is dynamic here to whatever list of classes that you already have defined previously. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, so nothing changed on the remote icon, but if we go to the View tab here and see what the component itself has inside, let's see this remote here. There's no status. What do we need to change and to add another key here, which is going to be the status? Well, we can go now to our mixin, the pink logic here, and when the monitor is up, we can change the status to be online. And similarly, we can add that change of status to be offline when we cannot reach the remote. We'll see what happens now. And yet nothing changed. Even though we added the new property, we are actually not able to read that. And the understanding I have for this is that the prop itself, even with all of these keys that make it, are not being reactive. And so the way I would fix this is by creating a data property on the remote component, which is going to be the current status. And I initialize that to be the status. And so the current status will change, and this will make our class to be modified. Let me change that to be that current status, and modify this as well. So this time around, the current status should be read and modified every time the monitor hits one of these two events now. And you'll see, sure enough, the icon changed here because localhost 9000 health is reachable. But let me move this a little bit farther, and I'm gonna kill the process here. After a couple seconds that took the monitor to ping again, it will change the icon once more.